when the facilitator is done, you come in with your questions. So thank you very much. Um, yeah, over to Prosper.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for that um, really wonderful sort of introduction to what this session is about. Please confirm everyone can hear me. When can you hear me?
Yes, Prosper, loud and clear.
All right, great. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, wherever you are joining from around the globe. And just as Dumame has mentioned, you are welcome to this session um, facilitated or courtesy of the NAPI YP technical team. And as Dumame has mentioned, if you have an interest of furthering your study, perhaps in the US, and you are looking for insights on how to secure admissions, scholarships, or mentorship, this session is for you, or you know someone who is looking at doing that, so this session is for you. But without wasting much time, I would just be giving a brief introduction to our facilitator for today, John Akudike. So I'll just be, or before I do that, please forgive me. Just to give us a bit of insight into the agenda for today. I know that publicity secretary has hinted some minutes ago on the group and as well on this call that there'll be like quiz or a bit of tasks in terms of websites which would be looking at people on this call keying into. So, of course, we're having the opening remarks and introduction of the facilitator right now. We'll have the first part of this presentation after the introduction of the facilitator, which will be for about 25 minutes. Then we'll take the first part of the quiz, which will last for 5 minutes. So please pay very good attention and hope you have your pen and your jotter in front of you. I know I have mine. We also have the second part or the part B of this presentation, which will also last for 25 minutes. And then again, another quiz break for 5 minutes. Then we'll take questions and answers for about 30 minutes. The vote of thanks, which will be taken by Able WYP lead. And then our publicity secretary will give us announcements and closing remarks. So in a bit of introduction to our facilitator, John Akudike. Oh, Sean has something to say. Yes, Sean, please.
Sorry, Prosper. Sorry to break in. Sorry, allow me to just recognize the presence of the University Assistant Program Chair and the person of Dr. Ifeanyi Obi, who is also on this call with us. Dr. Ifeanyi, thank you so much for joining in. I don't know if you want to say a few words to us before the profile of John Akudike is read, and then we'll continue with this session.
Oh, yes, thank you I was hoping to come in as undercover quietly, but it looks like my undercover plans failed. So, yes, so thanks for doing this, John. Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for volunteering your time to share your wisdom, your knowledge. John is my guy, he's my friend. So when I saw his post, I'm like, yeah, that's my person up there. So I want to, even if it's for a few minutes, show my face and say, hey, I see you. Thanks for all you're doing. And please keep it up. And I want to also thank the YP team for putting this together, for having a big man like you and a very, very decent person like you, on the platform to share with us. I am very pleased to have you. And I want to especially say thank you. And again, thanks to the team for putting this together. Thank you. I will not be here for too long, but I will listen in as much as I can. Then let's all sit back and then. Thanks, John, and thanks everyone.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Obi. Prosper, apologies for that break, but over to you now.
No, it's fine. That was needed. Thank you very much, Dr. Obi. Thank you so much. So Just moving on to a bit of introduction to our facilitator for today. John Akudike is a data engineer at ExxonMobil, leveraging data-driven solutions to support field operators in enhancing operational efficiency and ensuring regulatory compliance. Passionate about professional development and mentorship, John has actively contributed to NAPI YP Nigeria and now brings the same dedication to NAPI YP North America. He was also a valuable member of the NAPI YP publicity team, where his efforts played a key role in enhancing the visibility and engagement of the community. His interests include using technology for impact, supporting young professionals, and fostering connections. John enjoys running, playing, watching football, and practicing calisthenics. On a lighter note, John, I hope you are a fan of the best football team in the world, which is Arsenal, but leave it at that. But so that is our facilitator for today, John Akudike. John, the stage is yours, so that we do not waste much time. The stage is yours, and please, we are ready to receive the wonderful insights that you have in terms of guiding us on how to secure scholarships, admissions, or mentorship. John, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prosper. Really appreciate it. I want to say a huge thanks to NAPI YP, Mr. Shion, and the team for all like the support they offer to Nigerian students who are trying to build their careers. I would say a huge aspect of my life has been like being active in the community in Nigeria and here in the US, and I just look forward to doing more of that. I've been like a benefit of other people investing in me, so it's always cool to like give back, and I see this as an opportunity to do something like that too. All right, so today, if you guys don't mind, I'll just share my entire screen. You might see yourself, but that's okay. We would need that so we can access some of the external resources in the presentation. So I think I've got the presentation up here. Can you confirm you can see my screen now? Can someone please confirm?
Yes, we can see your entire screen.
Okay, there with that,
yes, I can see your screen.
With that, there could be a risk of having echoes from time to time. So please mute your mics so we can have a very good session here. And also with that, I might not be able to see myself. I might not be able to see anybody. But yeah, let's see how it goes. We'll be fine. So in this session, we're hoping to bring to light some tips, some very useful information that could help in guiding you on your grad school application. It would be cool if you have this information, because I think for some of us, there's something we call OT, right? So that's orientation, right? So if you're properly oriented, right, you gain a very good leverage for yourself. Like you're way ahead of your peers, you're ahead in trying to access information. And with that, you help yourself. This is the information age, right? This is the digital age. So I hope that at the end of this presentation, we have a very clear pathway to the US graduate degree. It's not rocket science, right? There are people that do this on their own, right? They apply to schools on their own and they get into schools on their own. So first off, I want to say, if you want to go, there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So I hope this presentation will give you some orientation. And in addition to that, you also create teams amongst yourselves, right? NAPE is a huge community, is a very huge community. There are so many students graduating each year. And if you are able to connect with like-minded folks who are looking forward to pursuing grad school studies, it would be cool if you guys are able to work together. And you have so many people ahead of you. You have the NAPE YP community in the US. We've got lots of grad students right now who can be a very huge resource to anyone who is applying to schools in the US or looking forward to applying to schools. But as way of disclaimer, any content in this presentation is not professional advice. It's just me, the way I would speak to my younger brother, right? The way I speak to my younger siblings, to help guide them or give them, throw more light to their knowledge, is the way I will speak to everyone here. So this is not professional advice, and this should not be misconstrued as me acting on behalf of any of my current or previous employers. So going forward, what are we going to be looking at today? First off, I like us considering things in terms of questions, right? First off, why do you want to consider graduate school in the US? Why do you even want to go to the US to study? And then we'll go through the hows, right? From the why, if you know your why, it will help you gain that motivation to move through the hows, right? You'll be able to get whatever knowledge you need to get. And then you move from step to step to step until you achieve that goal. So that is the essence of this presentation. We'll go from the why to the hows through ways to get resources onto when you finally get that scholarship or that admission and funding, how are you going to set yourself up for success while in grad school? All right, let's go. So why should you consider graduate school in the US? First off, the US, has advanced research facilities. I really don't think there is any other continent or country, by the US, okay, I mean North America, maybe the US and Canada, but it's mostly the US that gives you the resources to conduct research, right? Groundbreaking research. Your research is actually meaning something. It's actually being applied in some way, right? There are schools in the US that are in partnership with companies, right? There are schools that are in partnership with academic research facilities. And through that partnership, you get mentorship, you get the funding you need, you get even different kinds of resources, right? You get instruments, you get whatever thing you want to get, right, to study for your grad school. Also, the US gives full scholarships. There are assistantships. Scholarships can come in different ways. First off, there are assistantships. Assistantship can be a research assistantship, so you're mostly conducting research. It could be a teaching assistantship. You're teaching. As a grad student, you could be teaching undergrads, right? And it's not like you're teaching them the full course. You're helping out with labs, right? Like when you do geology of Africa or geology of Nigeria, you could have a lab component of the course, right? So you could be helping out with the lab, teaching introduction to geology, introduction to geosciences, and through that, you get paid stipends. So a stipend is kind of like a salary. Through that, you also, in most schools or in a lot of schools, you get full tuition waiver. So that means you don't pay tuition. Tuition is school fees, right? So you don't pay school fees. Through that, you could also get insurance, right? Medical insurance. And you also have access to a huge network of global opportunities. There are students who conduct research in the US, and there could be research partnerships with other countries, actually. And then you have to travel somewhere else from time to time to conduct research. And that's cool, right? It gives you travel experience. Grad school is like really a time for you to like travel around. You see, I hope some of you have seen pictures of students who travel for conferences. Yeah, you're going to present, but you're also going to maybe just rest and have some fun time. And the US also provides a pathway to industry and academia. There are so many career prospects within the US. You could work in nonprofit, like this image shows. You could work in academia. You could work in government in different ways entirely, right? The main thing is you know your why, right? You know, okay, what do I want to achieve? Like, what career goal do I want to pursue? And there are different routes to it. It's not always linear, right? It could be a different route entirely. Maybe you want to work in the oil and gas industry, right? You might not work in the oil and gas industry as a geoscientist, right? So you should open your mind up to like different kinds of opportunities that exist within the US. Even within the geoscience space, right? You could work in business within the geoscience space. You could work in policy. You could work in medicine. You could work in science. So there are like different kinds of opportunities. Now let's go on to, I hope that kind of opens your mind to like different opportunities. Really, that doesn't even do justice to how much of opportunities there are in the US. Trust me, there are over 1,000 graduate schools in the US. So there's like a school for everyone. If it's your goal to leverage grad school to advance your career, there are over like 1,000 schools, and you utilizing those resources would help you. So next, when should you apply and what is an ideal timeline to follow? Firstly, I want to say throughout the grad school process, so I'll call it grad school sometimes. That is the same as graduate school. So throughout this process, you want to know that Google is your best friend. I know as Nigerians, we don't really Google. There aren't really very good, legitimate resources for information. Yeah, but throughout the grad school process, and I know, yeah, it could be possible that Nigerian universities do not have those online resources, right? But you considering graduate school, right, you're looking more global. So you should also learn to utilize more global resources. And Google is like at your fingertips. You can get it at any web browser. So when should you apply? Usually, the grad school process has two resumption times. Let's call it resumption times. There is the spring resumption and fall resumption. These are the two major resumption times. So what that means is spring is you're resuming your studies in January. So in January of like 2 months ago, some students resume their studies. Then in fall, you resume your studies in August. So there's the spring semester, there is the fall semester. Now in the spring semester, you're resuming your studies in January, meaning you would most likely want to apply a year before or 6 months prior. In the fall, you're resuming your studies in August, meaning you most likely want to apply like a year before or 6 months prior. Sometimes there is a possibility of resuming in the summer. So there's a summer semester, and that's like resuming around May, June, July. And that is usually the case when your advisor wants you to come and maybe start getting some introduction to some of the research that is done in the lab, right? And the semester would officially start in August, right? That's your classes would usually start in August, or in some schools in the West, it could start in September, which is the autumn semester. Okay, so what's the process you could want to go through? You would first off need to research schools. So you could create like an Excel spreadsheet of the schools you want to apply to. Next, you want to identify faculty members, right? That's a faculty member is like a professor, an advisor that you want to work with. Thirdly, you want to identify what standardized tests is required and how to prepare for them. Fourthly, you want to start your application very early, right? Notify your recommenders, start your application early. You could request for application fee waivers if you want, and be sure to submit your application early. So for the spring semester, usually, like I said, the classes will start in January, but you're applying like June of the year prior. So for students that started classes this January, they most likely applied May, June of the previous year, right? And the application deadline would most likely be around August of the previous year. So if I wanted to go into grad school next year and I wanted to start in January, I would need to apply like May, June, July. The deadline would most likely be August. If I wanted to start grad school in August of next year, which is the fall semester, I'll need to apply in December. So between September and December, you submit your application, and most application deadlines, most commonly the application deadline is in December. Sometimes it goes to January. All right, let's go forward. After that, you would, say you're starting fall semester, right, in August. After you apply in December, you wait for interviews, maybe attend interviews if you have to, and then you wait for decisions. You could get some rejections. That's okay. That's fine. You choose the right offer for you, and then you commence your visa application, and then you relocate to start your studies. So this is between January and June, July, and then you travel July, August to start your studies. Now, where do you actually find programs that are of benefit to you? One of those places would be this Excel spreadsheet. So these are like resources. Anything underlined in this presentation is an external resource, right? Like I said, utilize Google, right? So you might want to check Google. So if I went to Google, for instance, I would want to search for Geosciences, Texas Tech, and the name of the school, right? So you search for the name of the program, the name of the school. If I open this, I would see the Department of Geosciences or whatever department you're applying to at all. And then I go to the Department of Geosciences, I would see stuff about the department, right? Even new information and all of that. So coming back to this, so that is utilizing Google. There is this resource, which is a spreadsheet that was created by a professor during COVID. So note this was created from COVID and it was last updated in July of this year, right? So this is a resource that lists almost all the schools in the US. But the clause is that these are the schools that most likely dropped GRE. So the GRE is a requirement. We'll get to that later. But I just brought this up first. So you see there is a curated list of schools in the US that offer geology programs. So the name of the school is this institution. The name of the program or the department is this, right? So these are programs that most likely dropped GRE or didn't require GRE. Now, if I go to this Baylor, it will take me to their website straight up. So I'll see their website. So you can utilize this. This has over 100 schools, actually. So this is like a curated list for you to see different schools in the US offering geosciences for master's and PhD programs. Now, there's also US News Earth Science ranking. So this just ranks schools in the US. Usually when you're creating your own list of schools, you want to choose like 1 to 3 top ranked schools, and then 3 to 5 intermediate ranked schools, and 3 to like 7 safety schools. So the top ranked schools are schools wow, that school, I would like to go there. That is huge. When you go there, you're a big boy, something like that. Yeah, whatever. But and then intermediate schools are schools that your profile is good for, right? You know you can get into. And safety schools are schools that you feel you can definitely get into. Say you got a first class, you got a very high score in your GRE, you know you're a very good candidate, you're a competitive candidate for safety schools. So in all, you should have like maybe 5 to 10, 12, 15 schools you're applying to, right? So this is a spreadsheet I created. Yeah, you go to this link and then you just access it. So this is a snippet of the spreadsheet, and it has like the name of the university, the program title, different things about the program while you're inquiring about the program. So you want to be able to track every school you're applying to, right? Have a list like this. So if you go to that link, you can access it for free. And so that helps you just track all your schools. And then there's another page on the link for the application stage when you're actually applying. Now, next, okay, how do you find, when you go to these websites, right, you go to the school's resource, what do you do? Next, you want to identify who is the graduate coordinator and also identify a faculty member you would like to work with. So for the faculty member, you want to go to, on the page, the school's website, you want to go to people or faculty, right? So say, let's go back to Google. Okay, let's go back to Google. Say I went to Texas Tech's website, right? And by the way, this was the school I graduated from. I did my master's in geosciences here and my master's in data science too. So if I went to this website, right, I want to see who's the professor I can work with. I'll go to people. Sometimes it will be listed as faculty. So most websites you see people, right? So when you go to people, you would most likely see the faculty, you see some current students, you see some other staff, some adjunct professors, but you want to go to faculty directory. And then, so this is a list of all the professors working in that university, right? This was the professor I worked with. So if you're interested in seismology or you're interested in structural geology, these are the people you want to be emailing. So back to this presentation, when you on your spreadsheet, you shortlist the names of those professors you want to work with, right? And you want to do as much research as you can on them. Use ResearchGate, use Google, check their social media, follow them well, right? Understand what they do. What are they currently working on? What positions are they most likely hiring for? You can check LinkedIn, right? And you want to send cold emails. So on this link, you would find some cold email samples. But this is here, I have 2 screenshots, right? The first screenshot to the left is you sending an email to the graduate coordinator. You just want to ask questions about the program. The second screenshot to the right, you're sending an email to the professor you want to work with. That's your potential advisor, right? Or your research advisor, something like that. And you're telling them about your research, right? Your experience and how your experience aligns with theirs, right? Or your interests aligns with the research they're working on. Now, after you've done your research, right? You've gotten the names of the universities you want to study at or you want to apply to. What do you need to apply to those universities? Firstly, start early. Like, I can't really stress how time is not on your side. Know that there are like so many other students across the world that are applying to these same universities, right? So you want to start early. Like they say, the early bird catches the worm, right? So start very early. Do your research now. Even if you want to start school August of next year, starting your research now. Have your list of professors, track them, follow them, like follow them, all social media handles, learn about what they're doing. When they make a post, know what their post is about. So you understand what they need and you know how to align yourself with what they need. You understand? And then after that, you want to work on doing some standardized tests, either the GRE and the TOEFL or the GRE and Duolingo tests. So the GRE, I'll come to that later. Next, you want to work on getting a transcript, an academic resume or CV, your SOP, which is statement of purpose, or any other essays, your letter of recommendation, and your application fee. So now let's go through these standardized tests, and then we'll get on to the first set of quiz. Okay. Now, say I was applying for spring semester, right? I want to be able to work on this standardized test between March and May. Because remember, the deadline for spring is around June, July, August. So I want to have my standardized test done by March or May. Next, you have, if you're going to start in fall semester, that is, you're going to start studies, you're going to start classes in August of next year, you want to start preparing for your GRE now. Get it done by August so that you have enough time to do all the things, right? So the GRE is a 2-hour computer-based test. It used to be 4 hours. When I wrote it, it was like 3 hours, 45 minutes. So it was crazy, but now it's much better. It's 2 hours. You schedule it based on availability. There's like different availabilities for different test centers. There are lots of test centers in Lagos. There's some in Abuja. Yeah. The cost is about $220, which is quite expensive. You get your result in 10 days after writing the GRE. So you want to start prepping as soon as possible, study consistently, utilize free resources. Now, okay, you're like, oh, this thing is very expensive. I'll not even write it at all. No, you don't want to do that. From now, right, you've got March to like August, right? You can start looking for free resources to study for the GRE and study consistently. Every day you're studying, you're doing something. I used to be part of some WhatsApp group then when I was preparing for the GRE, and we would always meet in the night. Everyone would come back from work and then we hop on the group and we're sharing questions. One person will be like the question asker and others are like answering the questions, and the person grades everyone and we do the corrections. So something like that, you all can create some group, something like that. And then this link will take you to finding out whatever resource you want to find out about the GRE. The GRE has 3 sections. There's an analytical writing section where you're writing essays, you're analyzing something and you're writing about it. You get a score between 0 and 6. There's a verbal reasoning, it's 2 sections, and it's section level adaptation. What that means is, say, when you start your GRE exam now, you get the analytical writing first, and then after that, you get either verbal or quantitative, right? Verbal or quant. Now, depending on how you perform in that first section, your other sections will adapt. So if you do well, you get very well, and you won't even know what you got, right? But to the system, if you do very well in the first section, your next section is going to be more difficult. But that helps you in terms of your score will be scaled and you get a higher score because your first section was so good, and if in the second section you were good too, you get a higher score. So the verbal has 3 types of questions. You can learn some more about it here. And the quantitative is also section level adaptation and has 4 types of questions. Now, the GRE also has free resources. Like I said, utilize any free resource you can. Go online. There are like lots of resources. Here I have links to like so many resources that you can utilize for your GRE preparation. Now, what you want to aim for is 320 and above. So like I said, in the GRE, the verbal and the quant have a high score or a maximum score of 160 each, 170 rather each. So that's 340. And the analytical writing is 6 point maximum score. So like on this snippet you have here to the right, you have a verbal of 150, a quantitative of 164, which is 314, and an analytical writing of 5.0. So these are the 3 scores, right? But you want to get as good so that you have a high score of 320, and that will require you doing practice tests. So any practice test you can, that is a full length practice test, right? Every month, try to do at least one. Now the TOEFL, which is test of English as a foreign language, is kind of similar to the GRE. The TOEFL could take you like 1 week to prepare. Honestly, I prepared for it in like 3 days, really. And how I did that was immediately I wrote my GRE, right? The next week, I made sure to write my TOEFL because from the GRE, you're preparing, right? You've been preparing very well. You're still in that mental state of you're going to get it done. You're going to get it done. And then you just go on and get your TOEFL too. It's almost similar to the analytical writing in the GRE and the verbal. So the GRE kind of is mostly the more difficult one, and then TOEFL is like more easier, right? So you can get a very good score on TOEFL. You want to aim for 100 plus on the TOEFL. All right, I think that ends the first section. Any underlined stuff here in this presentation is a link to an external resource, and you can utilize that to like find out more about like the tests. You find more opportunities online. Okay, we're gonna go on to the first quiz. All right, I hope everyone is ready for the first quiz. You're gonna get 5 questions, 1 question in each slide, and I believe there's a chat box on here you're gonna use to answer the question. It's multiple choice. So for each question, you get 4 options, A, B, C, D, and you just choose number 1, A, when you see the question. And each of the question is gonna be timed like 1 minute. So yeah, let me turn on my timer. Okay, I hope everyone is ready. All right, the first question starts now. All right, what is NAPI? Yeah, this might be a tough one, but and this should be like 30 seconds quiz. Like it's easy peasy.
Yeah.
Sorry, John, before the next question, please, if you don't have your name properly written or typed, please just do that so that we'll not be looking for what is not lost. Please just help us to make it easy. All right.
All right, what is NAPI? And it's fastest finger, so I think the first person that gets the answer right gets the prize. So we're all, I believe we're kind of members of NAPE, so we should be able to answer this question. Apologies to those who are not members of NAPE. Alrighty. Okay, on to the next question. What is the first step in applying to a US graduate program? You've got submitting your visa application, researching schools and programs, paying your tuition fee, booking a flight to the US. What's the first step? Should we make the questions 30 seconds? Because it seems easy. Okay, we've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we'll go to the next question, and it's going to be 30 seconds. Cool, right. What standardized test is required for US graduate school admissions? Do you need JAMB? Do you need GRE? Do you need your WIEC? Do you need SAT for grad school? Yeah, these are like very easy quiz questions. So. Three, 2, 1. We're going on to the next question. Which of the following is not a semester in US grad school?
Sorry, John.
Someone saying something?
Sorry, it's Prosper. I was just about to say, if we are not talking, please let's try to mute our mics. Please go on, John.
Okay. All right, and to the last question for this section, what is a common deadline for most US schools for fall semester resumption? If you're resuming in fall, what is the common deadline to apply? Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, cool. So that ends that first section. Let's go on to the next. So similar to TOEFL, which is the test of English as a foreign language, which is a standardized test you write. In addition to GRE, you could take the Duolingo English test instead of the TOEFL, right? So the Duolingo English test was just a recent test that was created, and it's much cheaper than TOEFL. I think it's being accepted by over 200 universities right now, and it's a 1-hour computer-based test. The TOEFL is more than an hour, I believe. You also schedule it based on availability. You get your results in 2 days, and there are lots of free resources actually to prepare for the Duolingo test, right? And it's kind of similar to TOEFL, really. It goes over reading, listening, speaking, writing. So you want to try to practice. You could practice for like a week, and do so well on the TOEFL, on the Duolingo English test. Next, what else might you need, right? So you say you're starting in the fall, right? You're starting grad school in the fall, which is next August, right? From now, you're preparing for GRE, you're utilizing free resources that you can utilize. Even while you're preparing for the GRE, you also want to get your transcripts. So your transcript is your result, right, from your university that you graduated from, your alma mater. So in some cases, you can lose your admission and your scholarship if you don't have your transcript, really. Now, what you want to do is try to get it as soon as possible. You usually get a student copy or a personal copy from your school. You can easily get that. And in addition to the personal copy, you can later on request an official transcript. So the personal copy is yours. You can use it to apply to jobs. You can use it to apply to schools. Now, when you're applying to schools, right, there are some schools that will tell you to submit your official copy in the application process. But try to avoid those schools as much as you can, really, because you don't want to, if I'm applying to 5 schools, for instance, right, I'll have to, I graduated from Futo, right, Great Futo Heights. I would have to request my official transcript from Futo for those 5 schools. That's not fair. It's expensive, right? But if I have my official student copy, I can just upload that in my application, and they can utilize that to assess my opportunities or my admission, right? And when I do get the admission, and hopefully I get the scholarship or the funding, then I will now ask Futo to send my transcript to that one school that I'll be going to. So that's like the best strategy for like transcript. Try to avoid universities that require transcripts upfront because it's going to be more expensive. Now, sometimes for some students that have national diploma, HND, you will want to do a transcript evaluation, right? To evaluate your transcript. If you have OND, HND, that's equivalent to having a bachelor's degree. So there are 3 mostly recognized resources, right, for transcript evaluation that you can use. There's WEST, there's ECE, there's IEE, and just these are hyperlinks to their website. You go to their website, you can start using it for free. And in addition to that, you may be thinking, okay, my GPA, like in University of Ibadan, UI, it's 7.0, right? It's over 7.0. Futo is over 5.0. Some other schools are like that too. So you may want to think, you may be thinking, oh, how do I bring this to the US standard where it is over 4.0? These are 2 free calculators that you can use. You go to them and then you just click start now, and you put in your details and you put in your result from your transcript. You put in your result and it will show you what the equivalent is in the US standard. So these are like resources you can use for transcripts. You want to start working on transcript now, else it will catch up with you later. Next, after you have your transcript, right, another thing you want to work on is your academic CV, right? So usually it's like a 1 to 3 page document. You want to be sure you format it well, and it goes from having your educational background to your research experience, to your publications, if you have any, to your teaching experience, your work experience that are relevant to the roles you're applying for or to the grad school you're applying to. Your certifications, volunteering and leadership. I think, yeah, sometimes, unfortunately, in Nigeria or Nigerians, we think volunteering and all those political positions you had in school doesn't matter. It does matter, really, because you were in leadership, really, you volunteered. If you're volunteering for NAPI, you can utilize that. Don't think you're selling yourself too much. Don't think you're being prideful. No, utilize those. Utilize the professional memberships. Utilize conferences you've gone to, presentations you've done, your honors and awards. You awarded best graduating student, best this. Put it in your resume. Your skills, references, if you have any. Now, this is a guide from Harvard. It has some action. It has so many information, including some action verbs that you can utilize in your CV, right? That would help you quantify your experience. Now, these are also CV samples that you can actually access. And for example, let's look at this CV. So this is a 2-page CV, which is cool. It's not bad, right? I would most likely want to do a 3-page CV. Now the CV should have like your name in bold, your address, sometimes your email, your LinkedIn. If you have a ResearchGate profile, you also want to put ResearchGate here, right? It could have a summary, your education, as well as your research interest. In addition to this research interest, I could also put relevant courses that I've done, right? So if I'm applying to a school and I want to work with a professor on seismology. I want to put that I did courses in geophysical data processing while in school. I did seismology course. I did some gravitational studies course. You understand? All those kind of courses are relevant. So you want to put that too. Then you want to add your teaching experience. Some of us, while we were in school, we hustled to survive, right? Sometimes maybe you're teaching others. Put it there. Don't think it's little. It doesn't count. It does count. Put it there. You were an academic tutor. Put it there. Yeah, there were people that maybe laughed at you. Oh, you're doing tutorials. Oh, no, it does matter, and it will help you really. So you want to put those kind of things there. Maybe you did some internship. Put those experiences here, and then you published your project, right? Your undergrad project. You want to put it here. Now, when you publish your undergrad project too, you can go to doi.org and create a link like this, right? That you can just put in here for your publication. You can host your publication in some website or some place, and then go to doi.org and link it and put it over here. You also want to put in certifications, your awards and recognition, your skills, academic membership. If you're a member of NAPE, yeah, you want to put those kind of details there. So don't be conservative with your experience, really. This is where you want to put any and everything that can help you. If it goes to 3 pages, that is fine. That is awesome. And you want the formatting to be just okay, right? Now, in addition to your CV, you might also need an SOP. So an SOP is a statement of purpose. Sometimes it could be called a personal statement, which is like an abridged version of the SOP. And this is mostly stating or asking you about what is your goal, really? Why do you want to come to this school, right? It's mostly your why. And this is where you want to tell your story, right? We all have unique stories, right? And don't downplay it. And this is not me saying you should tell them, oh, I've been poor all my life. I'm still poor. I don't have money. No, right? There are better ways you can present that. You want to actually be specific. You want to be professional. You want to be conservational, right? You want to talk about your story. Maybe you could start with born in a family of 7, right? I have always had to undergo hardship to survive. Now, if you start off like that, they want to know, oh, how did you navigate that? Right? They don't just want to know, oh, you've been facing hardship. They want to know, how have you navigated that? How have you helped yourself? And this is where you start saying stuff like, oh, you had to fund your studies by working while you were in school. You struggled and you did well. You applied to scholarships and you got them. You also applied to jobs or did Dragnet tests, got internship through Dragnet, did this. That's where you're telling them what you have actually done to show that in spite of the hardship you faced, you're really goal-oriented, you're proactive, and you're working towards your goal. So that's the essence of the SOP, really, to tell your story. Now, there could be additional essays like research statements. So this is where you're talking about your previous research you've done and how it translates to where you are now, right? And how it has served as a foundation for where you're going to. So in that sense, I could think of this as a 3-paragraph document, the research statement. I could talk about what I did in the past. Maybe I started off by being interested in mathematics in high school, right? And I did maybe some competitions, cowbell competitions, stuff like that. And then I translated that to being interested in geophysics and working with my professor in seismology. We did some research. And then now I'm looking forward to also translating that to being more valuable globally. So this is kind of like an SOP, but more from a research point of view, right? You're telling them what you've done in research, what you're doing now, and what you're going to. Yeah. And then there's a diversity statement, mostly you talking about your culture and how your cultural difference is going to help you be a valuable member of the school community. Now, think of these essays as you putting yourself in a good light in the school site, because nobody will want to be associated with someone who isn't proactive or who isn't goal oriented. Most schools, now when you change your mindset to think that most schools or almost anyone will want to be associated with someone who is a success, right? That helps you kind of work towards aligning yourself to be that success story. Schools love to showcase their students, right? The students turn out to graduate and then build good careers, awesome careers, and the school is showcasing them. Schools are really proud of the students in the US. So you want to show them that they can be really proud of you. Now, these are external resources too. There's an SOP guide, and then there are Google Drive documents for students. These are like open source documents that are out there that you can actually access for research, research statements, SOPs, and whatnot. Right. And after you're done writing it, you want to get reviews, right? You want to edit it over and over and over again, get second, get third reviews, and you want to start early, start now, right? Start now. While you're preparing for GRE, you're working on getting your transcript, you want to also start working on your SOP, work on your story. You are the only one that can tell your story best. Like some students reach out to me to like help them review their documents, right? But I can't really tell your story the way you can. So if you cannot portray your story, no one else can, really. So in addition to your SOP, remember we said you need your transcript, you need some essays, you also need a letter of recommendation, because most schools are like, well, yeah, I know you're telling us you'll be the best students we've ever brought in, but we want people to attest to the fact that you are a good student in the past or currently. So you want to get a letter, right, from maybe your previous lecturers while in school. If there are any undergraduates in the call now, I will advise you to really start working with your lecturers. Tell them maybe in a class you did some classwork or you did some lab or you did some field work, right? You want to tell them, oh, how can we advance this into some research study, right? And when you do that, right, those are the kind of professors that will be able to write a recommendation letter for you in the future. So in the recommendation letter, they are attesting to the fact that they've known you for so years, and they taught you, you got an A in your class, and they also supervised you in some projects, stuff like that, right? And you can even get a recommendation letter from a previous employer or a current employer. Now, the recommendation letter can come in different ways. There are schools that will send an email. Most schools would most likely ask you in your application to put in the email address of that your recommender, right? They will now send an email to the recommender, who the email can come in different ways. It could be like, oh, can you access, say, a student named John, for instance, I'm using myself. John is applying to a school. This school I'm applying to will send an email to my recommender to tell them about my academic standing, if any, to tell them about how am I good at research? Am I good at teaching? Am I good at different things? It could come in that way. They could say, grade the students from 1 to 5, 5 being excellent. How is he in being proactive, in critical thinking? You understand? So it could come that way, or it could come in form of the recommender just sends a letter, maybe a 1-page letter, talking about you and how they taught you in a class or supervised you in some research. Now, you know, these professors are very busy, right? So you want to send out your recommendation letters, your requests for recommendation letter early enough. So LOR means letter of recommendation. And for some professors in Nigeria, you could actually show them drafts that you've written on their behalf. If they're open to utilizing that draft, fine. Yeah, and you want to give them time, right? Maybe notify them early to ask for their permission to put in their email in your application, right? And then 1 month before the deadline, for fall semester, the deadline is most likely December. It's commonly December. So by September, even by September, I've started notifying I should start notifying my recommenders, right? And then you just keep reminding them until they actually submit the recommendation. Now, the issue might be that for some schools, they would, when you're done with your application, you filled in all your details, you've uploaded your transcript, you've uploaded your essays, your CV, you want to click submit, they will tell you, no, we need that letter of recommendation first before you submit. So you want to get that before you click submit. Even if the school says, yeah, you can click submit, let your recommender send their letter later, you want to be sure that they send their letter before you click that submit, really, because it just helps make things easier and you're very sure, oh, they've submitted. Now, in the submission or in the letter of recommendation, there could be a dialog box asking you if you want to waive your permission to view that letter of recommendation. Just say yes. So what that means is if you say no, it means the professor or your it kind of shows your school you're applying to that you don't really trust your recommender. So no means you want to see what they wrote after they've submitted, which isn't really cool. Yeah. So I just feel personally, I'll just say, yeah, just say yes. So that means you only want to send letter of recommendation requests to people you actually trust, that they'll write something good for you, people that actually want to see you succeed, really. Okay, now we've talked about the documents, right? We've talked about the exams, we've talked about the documents you might need. How can you actually submit a competitive application? Firstly, start early. Like I said earlier, you want to start a year prior, right? Start early, start preparing for GRE now. Don't say you don't have time. Like, don't say you don't have time. You can buy airtime, right? And I know it's difficult sometimes, but I hope there are those opportunities that like with MTN or Airtel or something like that, those internet providers where you can buy night browsing, something like that. Like I used to do that then, and you can utilize that. You understand? It helps you really. You're building something for yourself in the future, and if you take those steps now and you're consistent at it, trust me, it will definitely pay off. So try to start early enough, start preparing for the GRE, seek mentorship. While you're preparing, you've got questions, you can go to the school's website, right? I showed you how to go to their website. Click on people, click on graduate students, find all the graduate students. Now, say we went to, let's go all the way back. Let me just show you something real quick. Okay. So we went to Google and we went to my school's website. So this was my alma mater, Texas Tech. And so on here, I'll come to people, graduate students, right? You see the current graduate students there. And in most schools' website, they will show you who the advisor is. And they will show you like an area of study. So that means you see, oh, I want to work with this professor. This student is working with this professor. This is the student I want to ask questions from. So depending on what you want to do, right, you can reach out to different students, and most of them will answer, some of them will not, but that's also okay. So the earlier you start preparing yourself for mentorship, the better, right? You want to also stay persistent, right? I know there are cases where you maybe applied to grad school last year, you got admission, you didn't get scholarship. You just want to keep pushing, keep trying. Yeah, it will definitely pay off, trust me. And you want to also believe in yourself. You can get scholarship and admission for masters and PhD. Now, during your application process, you could, if there is some financial hardship, you could ask for an application fee waiver, and you want to start asking early enough, right? Maybe if your deadline to apply is December, you want to ask maybe in like August or September, because the schools have limited number of application fee waivers they can give, right? So if you ask early enough, this is like a sample of maybe a request letter that you can send. You see this person already wrote GRE, right? So they already wrote GRE maybe in like August, right? They already wrote TOEFL, right? This was their GPA from University of Ibadan, and they graduated with first class. So when you see stuff like this, the school will be like, wow, wow, okay, wow, you got 170 out of 170. Man, that is difficult. That is difficult. You got this. I'm definitely going to give you an application fee waiver. So this is why you need to prepare early. Yeah, this is why you need to prepare early. Also, on the school's website, you can find events on, say, the Department of Geosciences website about like the school hosts events from time to time. Some of those events maybe are on Zoom. There may be a Zoom option for you to join, right? Like there were, okay, for instance, there was a professor I was applying to. I was sending him cold emails. He wouldn't respond. So what I did was I checked the school website when I was applying. This was what I did when I was applying. I checked the school's website, and this professor was going to be presenting on his research to the department, right? And I saw there was a Zoom option. I was like, wow, okay, I'm definitely joining. I joined 30 minutes before the session started. I joined early. And then while I was there, I joined, he was already in there, right? And he started asking me, can you see my screen? I was like, yeah, I can see your screen. Yeah. And he would say, oh, can you hear me? I just helped him troubleshoot his his audio, video stuff. And immediately after the webinar, I may not have understood anything during the webinar, really. I wouldn't say I understood everything they were talking about. Immediately after, I sent him an email, maybe with some questions, and he responded. That was the email. In my first line in the email, I was like, this is the student that was in the call that helped you troubleshoot stuff. You understand? So whatever way you can, right? Utilize whatever resource you can. And that was the only email I sent that he responded to, really. So you see that you are the one that has everything to lose. They don't have anything to lose. So you know what you want. Go for what you want, however way you can. Some schools also host student events. So you want to look for some of those and join if you can. And then there are external scholarships. There's this Knight Hennessy Scholarship for Stanford University. There's this AGU Mentoring to 365. Okay, let's go to it. So this is a program by AGU. It's like an annual mentoring program for undergrad students, graduate students. I applied for this in 2020 when I was applying to schools. I applied for this. I got connected with an awesome woman, right? And she really helped me. Like we would have monthly calls. She was working in an NGO, right, as a geoscientist, right, and we'll have monthly calls. She gave me that time, that opportunity to like speak with her, and I will ask her questions, and she every time she would email me, oh, how's the application going? And she was very helpful. Like since I came here, we've met twice. I've been to her house. We've met at an AGU conference. So you see, there are like opportunities out there. So it's just yours to like get those opportunities. And it's really glad, I'm really glad to like make this full circle where I got these opportunities from people that invested in me and I'm also sharing them. So that's how the world should work, right? There's also the iScholar Initiative. This year it's closed right now, unfortunately. There's Mike Etaro scholarships, which is not yet opened. So this is something you can search for. They offer mentorships. iScholar Initiative also offer mentorships. Sometimes they also help you with your standardized tests. There is the Education USA Opportunity Funds program, which I took part of, right? They helped take care of the financial aspect of my standardized tests. They also took care of my application fees. Even for some schools, I still had to ask for application fee waiver, right? But they were able to take care of like 2 or 3 schools I was applying to. And they also helped me with my visa, my flight. Really, it was a very awesome program. So if you got a first class, this is the program you want to apply for, Education USA, OFP. That's what it's called. you can also apply for ISI and Michael Taiwo scholarships. These last two are not yet opened, so you want to be on the lookout for them. While you're being on the lookout for them, remember the essence of this presentation is do your research, right? Do your research well. Read up about these scholarships. Find students that have gotten them. And that's the essence of almost everything. If you want to get a job, you do your research, you find current people in there, right? That's mostly the essence of almost lots of things in life, right? So do your research, find people who got these scholarships, send an email to them, send a LinkedIn notification, ask to have a chat with them, and just get as much insight as you can to prepare. Now, if you do get rejected or you've been rejected in the past from some professor or some school, what do? You can thank the school, really. There are so many reasons they can reject you for. Sometimes they lose their funding, right? They may not have money to fund you anymore. So, which is not a bad thing, right? It happens. So you can just thank them, maybe ask them if they can refer you to some other professor. Don't be scared of one skill you should have in addition to doing research and being proactive is learning how to write. Learn how to write emails. It really helps. Learn from the rejection. You can ask them, oh, why did you reject me? Could you review my profile? And they'll tell you, oh, yeah, you just don't have this research experience that I need. And then you can work on that. If that is really what you want to pursue, you can work on that and you could keep them in the loop, right? When you maybe do some research on that or you get a job on that, you send them an email and tell them, oh, I got this job, I'm working on this. You understand? Trust me, it helps build that rapport. You get. Next, you can apply to another school, right? When I was applying, I got rejections in December. I applied in December, got rejections. And then in January, late January, right, I found Texas Tech and I sent an email to them, to the graduate coordinator, asking questions about the department. And he connected me with a professor. I put the name of the professor in my email, right, that I would like to work with. And then he responded to my email, copied the professor, and the professor reached out to me. This was January, late January, when most students have already started getting scholarships. And then February, we had an interview call. And then late February or mid February, I got scholarship and admission from them. So if you get rejection, it doesn't mean, oh, that's the end. No, you can work on, okay, which other school can I apply to? Can I apply to a safer school? Remember, we talked about having high school, top schools, intermediate school, and safe schools. Next, just stay positive, right? A fully funded offer is better than you having none, right? So leverage whatever opportunities you can get. So you want to also consider writing and acing the standardized tests. If you wrote them before, try writing them again, right? It's expensive. You can save up for it. I know things are hard, but sometimes what I believe in God, really. Yeah, that's okay to say. I believe in God, and I know there are times when you're working on something, right? You don't really have the resources, but when your mind is on it, you're putting in the effort on it, things will just keep falling in place for you. Some people say life just makes things fall in place for you when you're really working on something. So you can start utilizing free resources for the standardized tests. Study well, study hard, do practice tests, at least one every month, and you can even post it online and you can request for help from people. Trust me, people will come and help you, or people will show you opportunities. People will share opportunities with you because they know this is what you're after. They'll share those kind of opportunities. Now you could try getting another advisor. You could strengthen your profile, like I said. Just be thankful, right? If you get a partial funding, you can always request for a waiver of the deficit. I got, like, when I got my scholarship, right, I had like 800 and something dollars in deficit. So what the deficit means is that's the money you will have to bring out of your own pocket to complete your package, your financial package. So the school is bringing some huge thousands of dollars. So you're bringing it, like me, I was supposed to bring 800 or something. So I thought of it for a while. I prayed about it and I sent an email to the HOD and I explained to him, like, I was like, okay, this is my profile, right? In my first paragraph, I'm like, I first thanked them, right? I thanked them for the scholarship, for the admission, and I showed them this is my profile, right? I got this in the GRE, I got this in the TOEFL, and then next I was like, okay, right now I'm earning combined in my family income less than 5,000. Like when you combine your salary in Nigeria to dollars, it's way low. You can tell them that, right? So that was what I was earning then, and just I told him that, and I requested if they could increase my scholarship to cover that deficit, right? And he responded and said, yeah, they were gonna do it, and they covered the 800 and something. I didn't have to look for 800 and something dollars out of my pocket, thankfully. I know a friend who got a first class from Futo also, and he applied to schools. He got a PhD offer, and they were telling him to complete his scholarship by bringing about $2,000. And I sent him the email I sent previously, right? I sent him that email. I told him, just ask. There's nothing wrong with you asking. If you don't ask, then you lose the opportunity. You lose 100% of the shots you don't take if you don't ask. So I told him, just ask, right? Ask the HOD. And he asked, and they increased his scholarship. They covered the deficit. And even after that, he was now worried about, oh, where do I stay? Where do I stay? And I was like, just ask. And he asked again. They connected him with the dean. The dean, thankfully, was Yoruba. He's a Yoruba guy. So the dean told him, oh, I'll give you this amount of money for first 3 months of rent. And that helped him. Like even when I was applying, when I got my scholarship, right, I I signed a lease with a an apartment, and the moving date was gonna be 3 weeks after I traveled. So I was like, where do I stay for 3 weeks? I didn't know anybody. So I started emailing churches, really. There's nothing wrong with asking. I emailed different churches. One church responded and they were like, oh, they're gonna connect me with their youth leader. And I stayed with their youth leader for like 3 weeks comfortably. So yeah, just ask. There's nothing wrong with asking. And but the only thing is I would really suggest when you do ask, can you get those opportunities, give it back, right? Give it back. Last summer I was doing an internship and there was a guy an undergrad who needed somewhere to stay for 3 months. And I was like, oh, my room is free. Come and stay in my room for free. And he stayed in my room for like 3 months. I was away in another city for my internship. So always you can ask, don't be ashamed of doing that, but always try to give it back to other people too. Now, when you do get scholarship, right, you got your admission, you get a scholarship, you want to choose the right offer. Thankfully, you got 2, 3 admissions, 2, 3 scholarships. You now want to compare the funding packages. Okay, this school is giving me this amount, this school is giving me this amount. Which one should I go for? Right? Sometimes your funding could be like you get a salary of like $2,000 every month, which is cool and very awesome. You may get an additional fellowship, which is like a free scholarship in addition to that, right? And then you try to find out, oh, is the professor I'll be working with supportive? You reach out to current students. Trust me, students here, they don't, excuse me, nobody cares, really. Like, they won't tell you, oh, I'm scared of this professor, so I won't talk down on him. No, they'll tell you plain, like, this professor, no, don't work with him. You understand? So that could help you, right, in the future. And you also want to assess your career prospects. Which of the schools will help you get towards that career you want to build? Next, you want to start travel prep. You can check Nairaland, check different WhatsApp groups. There are WhatsApp groups for like visa preparation. And like if you guys create a group, something like that, after you get your scholarship, your admission, you create another group for visa. And that way you guys are like preparing for visa together. You can invite people like myself, and we like act as the visa officer to like help you prepare for the visa. You understand? So this is where you're building community and you're utilizing your community. Next, you want to relocate and commence your studies, right? You've all the process, you've passed through all the process. So now you want to start your studies. So when you do start your studies, join professional organizations, apply for more scholarships. There are like free money scholarships give you, apply for them, get them. It helps you be able to give other people too, right? Be active, seek career support. Sometimes some universities have programs like a preview program. There's this P3 program at Princeton University. So you could take part in it. So it's like just preparing you for the PhD. Now you've gotten your admission, you've gotten your scholarship. Just check the school that you get your admission and scholarship with if they have those kind of programs. Now you want to travel, right? You sometimes you could do it online, or you could travel to the school and actually do it in person. So you're connecting with current students. It's like orientation, something like that. So different schools have those kind of programs that they could sponsor you to come and join them on activities. Next, like I said, join professional organizations. And these professional organizations have volunteering opportunities, scholarships. You join NSB, National Society of Black Engineers, join NABG, National Association, that's NSB. NABG, National Association of Black Geoscientists, join SCG, Society of Exploration Geophysicists, AAPG, AGU, AEG. Yeah, honestly, I've gotten scholarships from all these organizations except AGU. So yeah, you can apply for scholarships from different organizations. And even as you apply for scholarship, be a member, right? Be active, help out, you understand? There is this GSA Onto the Future program. It's GSA's Geological Society of America. And this is a program where they're helping incoming students, right? So if you're like a new student joining a school, or maybe you're a first-time GSA member, or this is your first time applying to or joining a GSA conference, you could actually get a scholarship from them, or you could get travel grants to come to the conference. And then there is some mentorship program during the conference. I took part in this program the year even before I traveled from Nigeria, actually. So the application opens 13th March. You want to apply for this if you've gotten an apartment. I think one of the requirements is that you're resident in the US, right? So if you're applying to schools this year, don't apply for it now. Apply for it next year, when you know you've gotten your admission, you've gotten your scholarship, right? And you get to attend the conference for free. You get to connect with different students. And finally, we also have NAPE North America chapter, which is an extension of the Nigeria chapter. When you do get your admission, you do get your scholarships, you can click on this link and you get to join us as a member. And we kind of like take you up from the Nigerian chapter to the North American chapter, helping you achieve your goal of building a good career for yourself. I believe that is the end of the presentation. Yeah, it's a lot of information, I know, but I can't wait to see you guys on this side of the Atlantic. It's really awesome getting to help or welcome and mentor students. So yeah, looking forward to opportunities where we connect and get to work together. So this is my LinkedIn, and this is a profile I created on topmate.io. If you go on here, you actually find the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is here. It's free. All of these resources are free. So you can actually like have a call if you need some help on something maybe on your resume or your CV, or you need some clarification on some process, right? I will also be uploading, I think, a PDF of this PowerPoint on there so you can access it for free. All right, I think that's the end of presentation. If it's okay, we can go on for the next quiz.
Okay, thank you, John. Before you go on for the quiz, so please, I want everyone to do something. You know, this number that has been 80 something. Can we just top it up? So you can find the link to this meeting. You understand? I want more people to participate in the Q&A, especially because I know for sure that a lot of people have applied for graduate studies, and you know, for some reason they have a lot of questions to ask. So please, I would like that everybody share the link. So please just copy the link in the chat box and share with your friends, share with someone, you know, I've been struggling with this, you know, they might have one or two questions, you know, just share with someone. Let's help someone, because I tell you, it's a long journey. So you don't want to get to the middle and you're lost or something. So you need someone to hold your hands with this. So let's just show some love. So let's show some love. Just share with people. Thank you very much. John, you can go ahead.
Okay, awesome. So same as the first quiz, this time around, still 30 minutes or 30 seconds rather for each question. So yeah, I hope you guys are ready for the sixth question. All right. So which of the following is not typically required for a US graduate school application? So what don't you usually require? Is it A, is it B, is it C, or D?
For real estate ownership.
Please use the chat box if you want to drop
Yeah,
your answer.
please use the chat box. Okay, that is 30 seconds. We'll go to the next question. Which of the following can improve your chances of getting a scholarship? Four, three, two, one. All right, the next question. What is the primary purpose of a statement of purpose? So when you're writing an SOP, what's the primary purpose of an SOP? Three, two. Next, what is the role of Education USA in the graduate school application process? And finally, what is one benefit of mentorship programs like iScholar Initiative? Three, two, and done. Alrighty. So we can, yeah, I think we can have questions now. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, John. That was really packed, a lot of insights and a lot of much needed points that I think the audience or people on this call had to hear in terms of securing admissions or scholarships, mentorship for graduate studies in the US. So thank you so much, John. I know that a lot of us must have one question or the other because, I mean, given the amount of points and insights that John has made available to us today, I know we would have questions. So please, if you can, I see some hands put up, but if you can also drop your questions in the Q&A section, that would be really great. We'll see if we can take some hands, and after which we'll go into the Q&A box to read out some questions as well. Okay, so I see two hands up. Treasure Nosakari. I hope I didn't murder your name. But Treasure, you have the floor. What question do you have? Treasure, please speak.
Treasure, yeah, you can ask your question.
Hi, Treasure.
Okay, while Treasure is trying to ask a
Yeah.
question, there's a question in the chat box. Is there a preferable age range that favor graduate applications? No, there is no preferable age range, really. Like, you can apply to grad school any time, any age at all. You should be above 18, I believe. That could be the requirement, but it's, yeah, there could be exceptions where even if you're under 18 and you've done your bachelor's degree, you can still apply for graduate school. Yeah. So there is no age range at all. There's another question. Can someone with a CGP of 2.2 secure a scholarship? Yes, 100% yes. I have a friend who got 2.2 and he's in a school in California right now. He's doing great, right? He's attending University of California at Merced, UC Merced, right? And he's doing so great. He's winning awards here and there. He got a full scholarship to study. So the only thing is he's studying chemistry. He's not studying geosciences, right? But what helped him was we prepared for GRE together. We were like on the same GRE group chats when we were preparing. And he did well in the GRE. He wrote TOEFL, he did well. You understand? So sometimes, right, globally, there are like so many people, so many students across the world who are applying to schools in the US, right? So, and there are so many different standards of education. There are so many different gradings, right? So, a lot of times, your school that you're applying to, the intended school, doesn't put so much effort into what you got in your undergrad. They would look at your scores for the courses you did. Say I'm applying for geosciences, right? And like, okay, honestly, when I was studying in Futo, I got an F in entrepreneurship, which is one crazy course in Futo, really. I got an F in 300 level. But I still got scholarship. Even if eventually I got first class, but that's beside the point. I mean, even if you get an F in an unrelated course, right? Schools wouldn't put so much effort into that as much as they will put if you got an A, if I had gotten an F in introduction to geophysics, for instance, yeah, that could be a problem. But to help myself, if I know I have a 2.2, I will want to study hard for the GRE and the TOEFL and get a very good score on those. That will help you more than your two, like that would go farther than your 2.2. Yeah. So I would say, yeah, definitely you can get scholarship with 2.2, but you really want to work hard. You really want to work hard, write GRE and write TOEFL and get high scores on those. Okay. Does anyone want to be reading the questions, or I can read them as well and answer them?
Yeah, I can. So, so someone Itohan says, oh, first, Ibrahim, so please, do I need to finish serving, I guess, NYC service here before applying?
No, you don't need to finish 7 before applying. NYSC is only relevant in Nigeria. It's not relevant outside Nigeria. You don't even need to submit your NYSC certificate when you're applying outside Nigeria, at least, except maybe you're applying to a Nigerian scholarship, right? Like if you're applying for PTDF or Shell scholarship, they may ask for NYSC. But if you're applying to a US school directly, no, you don't need it. I applied to schools while I was on NYSC. Yeah. So no, you don't need NYSC certificate. And there was also a question on there was a question on, can I apply while I'm still in school and without a complete transcript and about 6 months from graduation? Honestly, I would say, like I would usually advise, right? I know you may not need NYSC, right? But we don't know where tomorrow we're gonna be tomorrow. You understand? So I usually advise students to hold on applying to schools until they've graduated and maybe they're doing NYSC, right? But if you're above the age of NYSC, then you get like an exemption letter. Then just apply to the schools directly. There's a coursemate of mine who got into university grad school directly because he was above the age for applying to for doing NYSC. So what I mean is, okay, regarding the question, you can apply without your transcript, right? But you would need to send an email to the graduate coordinator, right? And tell them, oh, I'm still in school right now. I don't have my complete transcript. But what I can get is my results, right? So if you can get your result, because they want to have some evidence of your studies that you're doing and your results you're getting. So in some schools, you can get a document with a breakdown of all your results. It's kind of like a transcript, right? But it's not a total transcript or a full transcript. So yes, you can apply before graduating, but in a lot of times you want to have all your documents, especially the transcripts, your student copy at least, to start applying. Okay, Itohan is asking, what's the first step to applying for scholarships in the US? Research, really. Do your own research. Like, there's no matter the amount of information someone else gives you, they are not in your shoes, right? They don't know what you want for yourself. You know what you want for your career, right? So do your research, right? Google will help you. Go on Google, just like we did. Just search for geosciences and the name of the school. Like I searched for geosciences, Texas Tech University, and sleep on their website. Yeah, spend time on their website. Even when you're looking for a professor, go to their website, look them up on social media, track them almost everywhere they are, right? Find out what they're doing right now or what they're currently working on. That's going to help you in having conversations with those professors. You don't want to send a generic email and just say, hey, this is me, this is what I like, this is my research interest, your research aligns with my research. Sometimes they may have said on some social media platform, apply to me this way, follow this format. If you're not following the format, they're not even going to consider you, right? That's why you want to find out what platforms they are on, maybe ask their students too, and that's all part of doing your research.
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry for going on. Kelechi, you can go on asking the questions because there are questions in the chat, there are questions in the Q&A. Yeah, you can go on reading the questions. Sorry.
Hi, John. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I was saying that I think Chris, you've answered Chris Thomas' question that says, can it to get admission into university for the science master? I think you have spoken on that. Jerry Nutt's question says, please can you clarify between TOEFL and GRE, which is more important when applying for scholarships in the US?
Okay, that's a very good question. All right, so there are two different tests, right? The GRE is graduate records examination, and that is testing mostly your critical thinking skills. It has quantitative, it has verbal, it has analytical writing. Those are the three sections in the GRE, right? So it tests how quick you are to answering questions. It's kind of like Dragnet exams. If you wrote any Dragnet exams in school for scholarships or for internships, the GRE is somehow like that, right? You have multiple choice questions, you have check boxes, questions where you check boxes. There are different kinds of questions, right? So there are two different exams. That is the GRE. The TOEFL is test of English as a foreign language. It's mostly on your ability to listen, to read, to write, and to speak English language, right? So we are good. We have a good command of English in Nigeria. We have been studying English or utilizing English in our communication almost since birth, right? So you in the TOEFL, it's mostly testing how can you hear. Can you, if someone speaks to you, especially in a US accent, there are so many accents in the US, sorry. If someone speaks to you in whatever US accent, can you hear it? Can you comprehend it? Can you speak back to them? Can you write? Can you read and understand stuff? So, which ones will be essential to you in your graduate school application? Both of them. They are both going to be essential to you because most schools will ask for both of them. Even if a school doesn't, like I showed you the list of schools that waived GRE during COVID. But even if they did waive it, you still want to try to write it because it gives you a competitive edge, right? Especially if you got maybe a 2-1 or a 2-2, you want to write GRE. That's what's going to boost your profile. And even if you're writing it, you don't want to get a low score on it. You want to get a very high score. It will boost your profile so much, right? The TOEFL is essential, especially if you want to get a teaching assistantship, because your good TOEFL score, it's over 120, right? So you want to get at least 100. So if you get at least 100 in your TOEFL, it shows the school that you can speak, you can write, you can read, you can listen comprehensively, right? You can communicate comprehensively, right? So that gives you an opportunity to get a teaching assistantship from the school. And remember, during the presentation, I said a teaching assistantship is where you're helping a professor or you're helping the department to teach, and you're teaching introduction to geosciences, something like that. Like I taught introduction to geosciences. Later on, I switched to teaching for another department, right? I was teaching astronomy. So, and it's not very compulsory that you know all those stuff before you can teach it. The main thing is, can you communicate? Really, can you communicate? So that's the essence of the GR and the TOEFL. Really, it gives you that competitive edge.
All right. Great. I hope that answers the question. During that. So for those asking for link to the recording of this session and presentation slides, I would leave that to YP lead, Fiona Ogundipe, to comment on those, to give response to those questions. So let's see, we have some more questions. So Chigozen Joko is asking, can you highlight more on person-centered SOP and generic SOP?
Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, so Chigozen Joko is asking, or is requesting, if you can just highlight more on person-centered SOP, statement of purpose,
Okay.
and generic SOP.
Okay. During the presentation, I said an SOP is used telling your story, right? Now, we all have different stories, really. Like, my story is not your story, honestly. Like, my background, my experiences, the life experiences I've had, the challenges I've been through, are not what even my sibling, my brother, had, right? We have different journeys through life. So a generic SOP is just saying, I came from a poor, you just start the email by saying, growing up, I was so poor, we didn't have money. I had to go to school by walking 2 kilometers every day. And I still went to school anyway, and I graduated with first class. You're just giving the facts, right? You're not telling them how. You're not going into details to show what you did, right? That's the lesson. That's the main lesson, really. Like, you being able to go down to the nitty-gritties and tell them what you did. I was faced with this hardship, but I had to tell myself, if I work hard, things will get better. You understand? And how did I work hard? I took up jobs while in school. I made sure I prepared for the GRE, the TOEFL, by studying late at night. And after preparing for the GRE and TOEFL, I learned so much during that experience. This is what I learned. That is what I learned. Like, you're being more specific. You're making it more conversational. You're making it such that when someone is reading it, they're enjoying it, right? They're enjoying your story, and it's connected. The first paragraph is connected to the second paragraph, connected to the third paragraph. There's no disjointing anywhere. I believe, to me, yeah, telling stories is maybe something I like. Reading is something I like. Reading novels. So, like, you're reading a novel, for instance, that is how your SOP should be. As good as you're reading a novel by Chimamanda Adichie, or a good novelist, your best novelist, right? That is how your SOP should be. Yeah. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much. I think that was a really good answer, and I hope that answers your question. That's a Chigozen Joko. So can we just go back to, because we've had some hands up for quite a while. Apologies to those who have had their hands up for a while. Victor Kelechi, can you unmute and ask your question, please?
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you pouring out the whole information or details about graduate school in the US. But my problem, it's more like a question now in terms of the current administration, the new president, uh, his moves and everything in terms of education budget. So I kind of want to ask, is this something to worry about? Especially graduate school.
Yeah, yeah. I do, yeah, I do understand that question. And I was gonna say something about it during the presentation, but I was like, no, okay, let there be a question on it. So I feel like why I didn't stress about it, right, is it's something that's out of your control, right? When there's something out of your control, right, it's not something you can easily navigate, if you get what I mean. Like, it's something that you just have to make provisions for or adapt for. What I mean is, even I don't want to dive into politics, right? But we've been hearing about some schools that are rescinding their offers to students. We've been hearing about some schools that says, oh, we wouldn't hire any student this year, right? But not all schools are doing that. So your focus should be, okay, if this school is doing this, there is another school that is not doing it, right? There are so many other schools that are accepting students. Like I showed you, there are like over 100 universities offering graduate studies in geosciences. You cannot go to all 100. You can't apply to all 100. So you just want to do your own research, right? And that's what starting early helps you do, because when you start early enough, right, you are able to know, okay, is this professor going to hire students next year? No, yes. Then you decide. Can I email them? You email them, you ask the questions, they give you insight, you email the graduate coordinator. So even for every application you're doing, try to email the graduate coordinator first, ask questions, right? And they will answer you, really, they will answer you. So regarding your question, I think it's not something you can control, but you can adapt to it, right? You can look for schools that are definitely hiring students, schools that are still giving scholarships. There are lots of them. Almost all schools will still give scholarships. So yeah, go for those.
Okay, thank
All
you very
right.
much, sir.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question, Victor.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Yeah.
All right. Great, great. So, Treasure, do you still have? Because I know you typed in the chat box that your question is being answered, but I don't know if you still have another question as your hand is still up. If you do, please unmute and ask your question. Treasure, can you hear me? Okay. Permit me to just quickly run into the Q&A box. I see someone has a question, but I think that question has sort of been answered. But Favor Egbedian has a question, and the question says, can IELTS be used as a replacement for TOEFL?
Yeah, I was about typing answer to that question. Yes, it can if you have it, right? If you already have it, do use it. But you want to maybe ask the school first, right? Send an email to the graduate coordinator and ask them that question. Some schools will say, yeah, definitely, we still accept IELTS. Some schools will say, no, you have to write TOEFL. And that means you look for another school that will say yes. Like I said, like there are so many schools, right? So you want to be selective in as much as the school is also selective to find who is the best student to come into their school. You also are selective. You want to know, oh, which school is the best school I can go to. So yes, IELTS can be used as an alternative, but if you're focused on coming to the US, I feel like the TOEFL is a better option for you to get. Um, but if you're also applying to UK and you're applying to Canada, then IELTS, yeah, IELTS definitely can be used as an alternative.
Okay.
And in the same vein, if you have TOEFL, right? Even if you're applying to UK, you can use your TOEFL. Yeah. And you can get admissions, yeah, and possibly scholarships that way.
Okay. Okay, so we are kind of rounding up the Q&A section, but I'm going to go back to the chat box. Damilare is asking, so thanks for the insight so far. I'd like to know your thoughts on the prospects for a graduate program in data science as opposed to geoscience. I've noticed that a lot of geoscience programs have data science courses embedded in them. Which pathway would you recommend?
Yeah, that is a very good question. So for me, I did two programs actually. I did geosciences and data science, and I did them at the same time, right? I was doing them at the same time. It was very, very hectic. I was doing like in the US, you would most likely do like 9 credit hours in a semester. I was in like 12 in some semesters. But you need to get special permission for that. But regarding your question, right? Yes, you can pursue a data science master's, but the only issue with that, is data science is seen as a very lucrative course, and most schools know that once you do data science, you most likely get a job, so they wouldn't give scholarships. So that is the issue with a data science masters. There are no scholarships for that. Um, like I said, I honestly, for me, when I was studying, my assistantship spread a little to the data science program. It covered a little, but I had to pay some amount of money. So almost every semester, I'm applying to scholarships, and that really helped me. So that is a worry you would have if you're applying to data science programs. There are really many scholarships for that compared to geosciences. So a good way to do it is you can come for geosciences. While you're in geosciences, you also do data science, or after your geosciences, you do data science. There are so many students who are doing that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So the next question by Frederick says, does the GRE and TOEFL results have an expiration date, like a timeline where they are valid for, when they are valid for?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if I had it in the presentation. The GRE is valid for 5 years. The TOEFL, let me see. How long is the TOEFL valid for? So you see, I'm Googling, right? Google is always there. Nobody will blame you for using Google, really, honestly. Just Google, find out things. The TOEFL is valid for 2 years. So yeah, I wrote GRE December of, no, not December, October actually. I was gonna write it in September, but it got postponed. We had that, there was the NSAS stuff around early October or so. So mine was postponed to like later October. So my GRE is still valid really till October of this year. So if I wanted to apply for a PhD program, I could use it. Yeah, so the GRE is valid for 5 years, but TOEFL is valid for only 2 years. But the cool thing is, if you come to the US and you do a master's, right, and you have TOEFL when you were coming, right, after your master's, you don't need to have another TOEFL to apply maybe for a PhD. So if I wanted to apply for a PhD, if I wanted to start a PhD this year or so, I wouldn't need to write TOEFL anymore because I already studied in the US. So if you actually study in the US at all, you don't need to write TOEFL. But again, in spite of that, like to give yourself a competitive advantage, you could write it, especially if you prepare well and you're getting very high scores in your practice tests, right? You're using exam conditions, like you put yourself in a room with a computer, you do the full practice test like as if you're in the exam hall, and you're getting high scores, and you know you're definitely going to get a very high score in the TOEFL. Go for it, write it. It will give you that advantage to get scholarships.
All right. Great. Okay. Thank you so much once again.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful answer. So another question says, does the number, this is by Aisha, does the number of times a person writes GRE affect the chances of getting the scholarship in school?
No, it doesn't. I say that because for each GRE you write, during after the exam, right in the exam hall, you would need to state what school you want to send your score to. So if you haven't sent your score before to a university, you can always write another GRE. If you wrote another GRE, you can send your score to them. So I don't think the number of GRE you write affects you really because, yeah, for each GRE seem like a fresh experience, if you get what I mean. So when you're sending it to the school, so it's like they're reviewing your application again, not as if they're gonna put any. It's not like they're gonna put any reference on your previous application or your previous GRE. No, they're only seeing what you show them actually. And if you just show them your current GRE that you have or your best scores in your best GRE, they're gonna use that.
Okay. So I think the more we answer questions, the more keep coming in. But because and obviously, this is a topic that people would always have a question or two to ask, right? So if it is okay by the NAPY lead, I think what we'll do is I know you also provided a means of say people reaching you or if people have questions, stuff like that. So maybe the NAPY lead speak more on this, but we'll find a way to provide a means in which people can channel whatever questions that they have. Because the more we keep answering, I just find out that more questions keep trooping. So please, if your questions have not been answered, apologies. We'll provide a means in which you can reach our facilitator. And you can channel your questions to him after this session or after this event. Again, apologies if your questions have not been answered. Thank you so much, John. Thank you, John Akudike, for a wonderful session and also the fact that you have been providing really good answers and insights to the numerous and multiple questions that audiences on this call have asked. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Yep. So at this point, I would permit me to hand over to the NAPY lead, Seun Ogundike. I'll hand over to him to give the vote of thanks. And just before you come, Seun, please note that some people asked or they try to inquire concerning or regarding the link to the recording of the session and perhaps the presentation slides used for this session. So if you could also comment on those as you take the floor, that would be really wonderful. Seun, please. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Prosper. Thank you for coordinating this session. I heard the two comments. I think I would allow Abioye, who is our publicity secretary, to take those comments. Regarding the recording, I'm guessing that will be on YouTube and available for everyone to watch. And then for the presentation, just follow us. I know we have a WhatsApp group. Every information will be passed across that, or follow us on other channels. But I'll allow Abioye speak to that when he comes on for the announcement. Yes, I mean, it's been a rich 2 hours here, having conversations around our pathway to US graduate degree, step-by-step guide to securing admission, scholarships, and mentorship. This has been delivered by our very own John Akudike. John, I want to, on behalf of the NAPY Excos, the organizers of this program, and the entire community of NAPY YP, say a very big thank you to you. I remember that this program we're having today actually started sometime late last year. And then John had reached out from the North American chapter. I mean, this is something that we've been planning. And thank you for the initiative, John. We really, really, really are grateful to you. Thank you so much, John, for creating time to share this with us. I mean, it can get very busy for you being a data engineer in ExxonMobil and then doing one or two other things. But again, thank you so much for creating time to share this wealth of experience, this knowledge that it will take a lot of time for people to come across. But you've decided to summarize that and shorten the process for getting this information to us. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Prosper, thank you so much for coming up to moderate this session. We're really grateful. And to all the organizers, this was led by the head of the technical committee, Dumome. Dumome, thank you to you and your team as well. And again, this wouldn't end. I mean, the executives, the NAPYP executives, thank you all so much for all the support. And to every single person on the call, I know we're almost 100 at some point. Thank you so much for creating time. And now we're about 66 on the call. Thank you for creating time to come to learn. At NAPYP, we'll continue to create value. Whenever, from whatever level, from whatever degree, from whatever aspect that you think, wherever it is that you think that we can add value to you, feel free to reach out to us. We'll try to make that happen, because at the end of the day, we can only be doing this for ourselves and globally for the impact of the community and then the industry. Thank you so much, and I will hand over to Prosper, and maybe we'll get the announcement from Abioye. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you so much for wonderful vote of thanks. At this point, without wasting time, I will hand over to Abioye, the NAPI YP Publicity Secretary, to take us or give us a bit of announcements on recent events and hopefully forthcoming events. Abioye, please. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Prosper. And wow, John, thank you so much. Myself and John, we've gone way back. Publicity, YP. He has always been an excellent person, a good team player and all that. Thank you so much. All those resources, it shows that, man, truly, you're an excellent person. So thank you very much. So, Prosper, you'll be helping me with the slides. So can we go to the next slide? Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, so of course, these are the ESCOs. You just heard the voice of the team lead, which is Mr. Sheung, and Bethel, Lighton, Daniel and Abel and Uche, the provost, and myself at the bottom left. Yeah, so do well to follow everyone. A good way to be in sync with everything we are doing also is to follow every of these executive you see here. So at least you get information and ask questions. We are very open. Yeah, so please, next slide. Okay, all right. So for our upcoming events and programs for April, we have Geology Day. So what Geology Day for April is 6th of April. So, and this it's usually a physical event. So I want you guys to stay tuned for this. And I tell you, it's a fun day. So it's done in collaboration with NAPE at large. So it's always, a fun time for us. So I think the last one was at Lekki Conservative. I don't know, I can't remember, but it used to be fun. So then we have technical service for next month. You should look forward to that. Then also Mentors Hangout. So this usually happen in Lagos, but we are still trying to plan if it should be Lagos or somewhere else. So we'll give feedback on this. So that next slide, please. So NAPE charity in the street. So our last meeting, we're soliciting for funds and asking for support and all that. So we're just back to tell you guys to say thank you very much. Thank you very much for supporting. Thank you for making this a success. So you can just go to the slide, next slide. So we'll be going through, pictures of the event. You can go to next slide, please. Prosper. Okay, so I think we skip a slide. We skip the slide. So these are pictures of the event. You see the happiness, the joy, in face of these children. We're able to reach out to them, in the little way we could, with everything we're able to get from everyone. So it was truly a success. And you must have seen this on all our platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So if you are not following us, please, like I used to say, follow us. The more you engage all these things, the more people see it. You understand? There's no publicity without the community members. You understand? So I want everybody to be part of this. You understand? So we're able to do this, and I tell you, it was a success for us. to the success. We're able to reach out to over 150 students and children, giving them gifts, and also foods, and also engaging them and encouraging them. One thing we can do is to give children hope, you understand, and build at least a level of faith in them to be able to reach their goals or beyond what the community might actually prove that it can be. So next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, thank you. So now, the last technical series we had was amplitude variation with offset. So if you have not seen this recording, it's on YouTube. So I want everybody to go there, watch it, learn, and and keep learning. So, and for last week we had about 5 persons. 5 persons won gift prizes. So if you are one of these persons and you have not reached out, so please do well to reach out to me. You can see my number there, and is on all social media platform also. So please always reach out. And like I said, always put your correct name. Always put your correct name when you join meeting like this, so that I will not be looking for who is like I was asking now, who is Theodore what and all that. So we could give your gift to someone else. You understand? So today now we have about 10 winners for today quiz, 10 questions, and we have 10 winners. So I will not be calling the name. I'm tempted to do that, but I will not, because I want everyone to follow us on social media and interact with us. So that what that means is that when you are connected with us, when we make a post, you always see and you always know. So anticipate this and anticipate the recording also. Next slide, please. So the recording will be out in a few days. Yeah, so now for this month, NAPI is having the March Technicals like business meeting in a hotel, Grand Ball Eco Hotel room. So this month we are having modern seismic surveys design, the long and the low. So if you're in Lagos, I want you to join. So it's another way or another avenue for us to connect physically also. And if you can travel down, why not? Please do travel down. I want to meet everybody, I want to meet everybody. I like meeting people. So please, if you can attend, please do well. And if you cannot attend physically, join online. By now, you should have registered. You can see the link there, b.ly NAPI March TM Technical Meeting 2025. So please join. Please join. So you can see the sponsor. We have like a sponsor this time, Sharewater and Avex Geo Solution. So I want everybody to please, let's participate in this. This is a way we can also grow. So next slide, please. Let's run. So the next slide is talking about the fact that you need to pay your due. Please, let's pay our dues. So we know student membership is 2,000 yearly due. Active membership, which also account for YP, is 12,000 naira yearly. So please, let's pay this way we can support the association. If every member is paying their due, it will make things easy and smooth. You understand? And if you are a student, you used to be a student member, you're now a graduate. Oga, madam, now you should join the YP community. So please upgrade your membership to active member. You understand? And this will cost only 12,000 naira yearly. You understand? So students' years have passed. So please, let's upgrade. So you can kindly pay to the account number there, UBA, and you can always contact Mr. Mayowa. His name is Mr. Mayowa. Is the what is it called? Registration officer for NAPI. So this is his number on the screen, and that is his email address. And if you have any other information, you can always reach out to us on either of our handles. Next slide, please. So if you are not following us, please, I beg you, follow us on all social media. Engagement help us. It help people see the post. You understand? Last technical meeting, we have over 100. Today now, I know that it's about 3 p.m. The meeting, maybe people were busy and all that, but we still had about almost 90 or 90 something or thereabouts. So please, let's always share to people. You can see how this has really blessed us. This is not any information you can just get anywhere. Mr. John has really done a great job. I can tell you that because we know. We know. So it's all right. Thank you very much. So I will Prosper Uzoma, you can take over. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Billy. Thank you for this series of announcements. Yeah, it's been a very long day, and but not a wasted one. A wonderful one filled with a lot of useful information. I hope that each and every one of us on this call picked up 18 or two that we will take back home, or 18 or two that will be useful or important going forward for those of us who are looking for a graduate study opportunity, perhaps in the US. You know, if you needed that sign, as they would say, you know, take this session as that sign to help you get that graduate study opportunity. Um, I know Sheon has done the vote of thanks and Happy YPD, but once again, a big thank you to NAPI, a big thank you to the NAPI YP schools led by Sheon Ogundipe. A big thank you to the NAPI YP community, each and every one of us who joined this call. We stand in our busy schedules. A big thank you to our facilitator for today, John Akudike, for also finding out time. You know, he's a busy man too, but he found that time to be able to share the wonderful insights and points which he has shared with us today. Thank you so much, everyone who joined the call once again. From myself and the NAPI YPS schools and the entire community, thank you for joining. We'll draw the curtain to a close at this point, and do enjoy the rest of your weekend, and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Bye for now.
And don't forget, you can also follow Mr. John on LinkedIn. So please do well to follow him.
Yes, for those of us that didn't have our questions answered, you can follow him and, you know, ask the questions, whatever questions that you have. So thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone. Cheers.